Good morning. This is Professor Ramanandan HS, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. I have successfully engaged the subject mechatronics with a subject code of 17ME 754. We have already seen few sessions handled by my colleagues also, Rakesh R and Sachin B. So today I am continuing the session, followed up session of sensors. Okay, in the last session we have seen light sensors and few types of optical proximity sensors. So today is in continuation of a last part of proximity sensor. I have already told you proximity sensor is nothing but proximity is nothing but nearby or the vicinity. So nearby objects need to be detected. It may be metallic or non-metallic, maybe elements, maybe light sensitive also. I am stressing on light sensitive because today's topic is optical proximity sensor. Let us go to the contents of the today's session. So proximity sensors, what we stopped in the later session till magnetic, say proximity sensors we used usually the electrical property as an output. I already told you conductance, inductance, magnetic field as well as optical behavior of metals can be an output for any sensory input. So we have already seen what is a photoelectric effect based type of sensors, what are the capacitive based sensors, inductive based sensors and also magnetic field sensors in the previous sessions. So today we will deal with optical behavior of metals as an output as well as an input for any sensor. So today's contents are optical proximity sensor, principle and working. So along with that types of, so what are the various types involved in optical proximity sensor, followed by the one more type apart from light sensor as well as you have proximity sensors, major category in sensors. Third one is Hall effect sensors. So its working and applications. So this is the content of today's session. So let us go one by one. So we need to understand, I have told you the way to approach a subject may be word by word than as a whole. So that is the right way of understanding a subject. If you know bit by bit, okay, you know something. As a whole, when you study, you know maximum thing or everything. So that should be an approach. So here, optical proximity sensors. So go word by word. Optics, you have studied in basic science. It is nothing but related to ray of light. So light rays, quantum of energy, photons. So various synonyms we have understood the behavior of light. So it will travel in the form of direct and diffuse rays, maybe transverse, longitudinal, mixture of these two. Say transverse waves, longitudinal waves and mixture of these two. It is a bundle of energy traveling in various directions, that is electric field. Okay, that is nothing but study of this field is called as, or branch is called as optics. Proximity we are familiar, vicinity or nearby. So how to combine these two and why we have to combine these two is because there are few materials which can which are sensitive to light. So I have to detect them. They may be metal, they may be non-metal, they may be element, but they are sensitive to light. They have shiny, lustrous appearance, visual appearance, which can be detected by a sensor by using optical techniques and which are at the proximity of a sensor. So these two concepts we are using. By using a ray of light as an input from the system, output also is measured in terms of ray of light. It may be monochromatic or any form of polarized light, any reflecting light. So incident light can be measured by using optical type of proximity target, can be sensed by the optical proximity sensor. So why do you need types here? Because light doesn't behave the same way. So you should know one thing, light has different organizing by itself. Incident light may be reflected by a reflector. Incident light can be scattered by the target particle. Incident light can be refracted through a medium. So all these are the possibility of, when a light is emitted as an input, you want light as an output. These are the few possibilities. Light can get reflected, light can get refracted, light can also get scattered. So various possibilities are there. So you have to design, okay, by using optics if you have to measure any object. So our design aspect should consider all these phenomena occurring in a target object, so that I have to measure the target with the help of a sensor. That leads us to design a sensor in a various forms. This is the main purpose of going through different types. So different types, now you are familiar. So that is nothing but we use direct reflection as an option, because there are materials which can reflect, which acts like a reflector. So for that we have direct reflection principle employed. So that is the purpose of first classification, direct reflection type of optical proximity sensor. Second type we will go later on successively. Second type is reflection with a reflector, where I can use a reflector so that it is 100% efficient. From the sensor to the object I can place a reflector, so that if any obstacle is there between the emitted light and the reflector, it can detect. Because of the target is blocking the light, that makes us to vary the current by usage of any photodiode or phototransistor type of photoelectric effect sensors. Okay, I will tell you in detail when we approach one by one. This is just a glimpse of, okay, understanding various types and why do they exist. So third one is polarized reflection with a reflector, third type of optical proximity sensor. So you have used polarized sunglasses. Usually, I have already mentioned back in few minutes, light is a bundle of energy, okay, where it has various waveforms. Electric field is made up of different waveforms. So it can travel in a transverse direction, longitudinal direction, as well as mixed also. Diffuse rays are also coming in the form of electric field. So polarized is nothing but it is a monochromatic bundle of light, something similar to your laser, where okay, I am directing light rays, restricting the vibration or restricting the waveforms into a single waveform. So that is called as polarized light. I am avoiding the scattering of bundle of energy in the form of, okay, longitudinal as well as mixed rays, mixture of these two. I want to light to travel like a transverse wave. This restriction leads to a light called as polarized light, so that it hits the object, it gets reflected in the same bundle of energy without any, okay, scattering or refraction of light. So that principle is also applied in shiny surfaces. If a metal is very shiny, very lustrous, okay, visual aesthetics are too good, such type of material will emit, okay, very efficiently the polarized light. That makes us to design polarized reflection with a reflector. So reflector purpose I already told you, it blocks the light, okay, so that I measure there is this object between emitter and a receiver. Through beam type, okay, through beam is also one more form of reflection with a reflector, where we are housing the emitter and receiver at, okay, apart, so that object is between the emitter and the receiver. I will go in detail. So these are the various types of optical proximity sensors. So we will go one by one. We will start with the simplest one, reflection of light based type of optical proximity sensor, that is direct reflection. So you can see here, so this is a sensory body, where sensor consists of light emitting source and light receiving source. Both are housed together. You can see here, they are, okay, set up in such a way that they both are housed together at one point. So reflected light, okay, sorry, incident light hitting the target object, you can see here, target object, as well as the same light ray is reflected back to the receiver mounted on the same, okay, housing body of the entire setup of sensor. So this type of, okay, working of or principle of working of optical proximity sensor is called as direct reflection, where I am incidenting the light and the emitter, okay, receiver is also mounted on the same housing, light is received perfectly. So this shows that, okay, there is an object nearby. Otherwise the incident light keeps on, okay, not getting reflected back. If there is no object being detected in front of the incident light, light doesn't emit back. Is that clear to you? So incident light, if it gets reflected, that shows there is an object nearby. Okay, that is the principle. Second one is reflection with a reflector. You can see here a more descriptive way of or elaborative sketch with which is showing the complete setup of a sensor. So there will be a DC supply, okay, there is an oscillator or a pulse generator, that is what we say. Usually we use a pulsed light. I failed to tell you. Pulsed light is nothing but it makes us foolproof of a system. If there is a pulse output, any other light getting interrupted with the system emitted light will be avoided. So our light form will be usually a pulsed type of frequency with a fixed frequency that makes us to know that this is the emitted light from whatever sensory object we are trying to incident the light. So that makes us to use pulse type of light rays. So there is a pulse generator which will transform this DC to AC light, and AC light will be transmitted to the front end to detect the object. If ever there is an object in front of the incident light, same principle, the light will be reflected to the receiver efficiently, and the observer or the one who wants to detect the object, he should be having precise knowledge of color of light and the surface or image texture of the surface, so that he have the complete perception of what object is detected. Otherwise, again we have to scratch our brains. So what is the frequency of light, what is the surface texture of the object, what object is detected, we will not be aware of. So the perception should be too strong in understanding the wavelength, color, as well as the image texture of the object detected. So the reflected light, see here also emitter and receiver both are housed on the same component. There is a current sensor here. Whenever the light emitted, there is no target here. So, light will not be getting reflected to the receiver. Whatever DC supply is, which is converted to AC, that will be usually sensed by the current sensor. There will be no change in the AC power supply from the input to the output. Same current will be detected by the current sensor. If ever there is target object, in front of incident light, the target object will reflect the light back. There will be manipulation of, there will be change in current, because whatever the incident light is reflected back by the target object, there will be change in the light. That change in light will be detected by usually a phototransistor. We have studied the light sensor. Whenever the light strikes the material, there will be emission of electrons. Usually there will be change in voltage. So such type of either photo Darlington pair or photodiodes, usually phototubes are usually used. We avoid using photoconductive type of current sensor because there is a delay time for photoconductive type of sensors. We want immediate detection of the object. So I am telling it in one optical proximity sensor so that it holds good for every type of sensor. This current sensor, usually it is made up of photoemissive type of sensor or photovoltaic, because they have lesser delay time when compared to photoconductive. Is that clear? So the current sensor will detect the light in the form of electrical energy, photoelectric effect based sensor. So that change in potential difference or emission of electrons will be detected at the output, so that a target is in front of optical proximity sensor. Third type, I have already told you this, the polarized light is used for the incident ray. Whenever the object is detected, usually the shiny surface, the most shining surface is, whenever we want to detect a lustrous object, we use polarized type of reflection with a reflector. So whenever there is no object, light will be getting reflected by the help of reflector. Reflector with a particular fixed frequency and wavelength. Whenever the object is detected, there will be change in the color and texture of the, depending upon the texture and the polarized reflection of the object, capacity of the object. So that will be sensed by the receiver. They both are mounted again on the same housing here. So through beam is nothing but it is a special case of reflection with a reflector, where I am mounting the emitter and receiver both at different ends, so that object is detected at the center. The object will be detected at the center. So whatever light emitter will be sending continuously the light, receiver will be receiving the light. So if ever there is an object in between these two, the emitted light will not be reflected or will be received with a different of intensity. This change in intensity makes the current sensor to detect that there is an object between emitter and between receiver. So this is the principle of through beam type. So that is how the naming goes. There is a beam of light emitted by the emitter, received by the receiver. Whenever there is no object. If ever there is object, there will be change in the beam of light, received by the receiver, whatever the emitter emits. So this is the fourth type of optical proximity sensor. So as a whole, we use optics as the major input source, as well as electrical energy is being obtained by using photoelectric type of sensors or light sensors. That is why the name is optical proximity sensor. By using ray of light, I am measuring sensing range sensory object which is at a particular distance. This is about complete understanding of proximity sensors. So we are already familiar with proximity sensors now. The last type of sensor is Hall effect sensors. Before understanding, it is the name of the scientist E.R. Hall, who has discovered or who has made a note of this effect which is existing between electric field and magnetic field. Even the earth is nothing but earth is a magnet. Solar radiation is an electric field. Both are, earth is spinning because of the magnetic field, the north pole and the south pole of the earth. The incident light electric field is making, the Fleming rule can be applied here, Fleming thumb rule. The electric field is getting continuously emitting the light ray on a magnet. The both perpendicular fields will make the object to rotate. That is why earth is spinning around its axis. Same principle was applied and understood by E.R. Hall with a few next level of understanding. That means to say, his statement, if I reveal, you will know what is Hall effect. Deflection of path of charged particles under the influence of magnetic field. As simple as that. Deflection of path of charged particles under the influence of magnetic field. So that means to say, you can understand it in a simple way with the help of a sketch here. You can see in the sketch Hall effect sensor. That is a statement what I told you. So Hall effect sensor can be understood this way. So this is a conductor, conducting material. B is nothing but the magnetic field perpendicular to the direction of current. You can see here I is the current which is usually passed through this conductor, which is generating some potential difference. Current is passed continuously through the conductor, so that there is a potential difference generated with the help of a voltmeter or any voltage measuring device. Whenever you bring magnetic field to the current carrying conductor, so what happens? Usually there will be deflection of path of charged particles, which is, I will try to show it. So you can see here, there will be, if our current particles are traveling in this direction, there will be deflection of path of charged particles, which is usually perpendicular, to the magnetic field, to one direction. So that makes one type of charge to deposit on the one end of the conductor. If you think it is a negative charge, flow of charges is flow of electrons, the electrons get deposited at one of the end of the conductor. So that causes maximum potential to deposit at one end, the other potential starts depositing at the other end. If the negative charges get deposited here, the positive charges keep on, the anodic current gets starting to deposit at the other end of the conductor. So this causes the potential difference V between the charge distribution. The charge being distributed will change it will be very strong, so that there is a strong potential difference between these two accumulated charges at both the ends of a conductor. So this usually depends on the thickness of material. So this is also one of the important factor. Thickness is usually inversely proportional to this Hall voltage. This voltage V which is generated is usually called as VH. VH Hall voltage is usually directly proportional to magnetic field. VH is directly proportional to magnetic field B, current I, and it is inversely proportional to thickness T. Okay. So as the thickness increases, Hall voltage potential decreases. Is that clear? But as the magnetic field is too strong, Hall voltage is too high. If the intensity of current is amperes is too high, your potential difference is also obviously from the Ohm's law, it is directly proportional. So your intensity of magnetic field will decide the potential difference of any object. This principle can be employed anywhere. Okay, whenever I repeat the statement, deflection of path of charged particles under the influence of magnetic field. Okay. So if I take some example here, okay, usually expression can be derived. So VH is directly proportional to Bi into T. If I remove the proportionality constant, it is Hc, Hall coefficient, into Bi by T. So this is the standard expression of Hall voltage, where Hc is the Hall effect coefficient. Okay, this usually differs from the material to material. Hall effect coefficient depends on the conductor, material, magnetic field, current, and thickness of the conductor. Okay, by taking an example, we can understand the Hall effect better. Fluid level detection. So in our vehicles, okay, we have something called as fuel level detector. We usually see whether the fuel is half a tank or full tank, or it comes to reserve with the help of analogous reading, or it may be digital in the form of digital reading. So these days, initially we were using analogous type of a detector. Okay. Nowadays we use sensory objects, because electronics and mechanical engineering we have evolved in interdisciplinary thinking and interdisciplinary components. So that has made a revolution in the field of maybe automobile, maybe computers, maybe fluid level detectors, or any hydraulics and pneumatics. Every field there is influence of interdisciplinary knowledge. So evolution of electronics has strongly binded with mechanical engineering. So in mechanical engineering we usually detect the fuel tank, fluid level inside the fuel tank. Previously it was detected analogous. Sensory objects are considered too precise. Okay. Nowadays you can see the small schematic representation of fluid level detector. So it has electrical components like supply, ground, and output. Okay. Being with the help of the battery, we are supplying the current, and output is obviously measured and displayed in the display dashboard of the your automobile. Okay. You can see a magnet mounted at the top of the float. This float, okay, you can see the fuel tank here. Fuel is represented. This entire setup of float is connected with the help of a spring. There is a spring. This float is usually having a buoyant effect. It has a buoyancy effect so that it is floating with the fuel. Okay, whenever you are moving or static vehicle, it is usually having buoyancy effect with the help of fuel, with the help of a spring. Okay. So whenever the fluid level is at the topmost, say example, this fuel level is complete of the fuel tank. The magnet is closely approached by the float. Okay. Magnet is also attached to the float, and the magnet is closer to the electrical output. That makes a deflection too high. So in your dashboard, reading will be showing. If this is a fuel level tank, say think this is the half tank. Nearer to this it is a reserved. This is half a tank. This is full tank. Of some around 8 liters. Maybe consider any two-wheeler. Bikes. 8 liters is the fuel tank. Say you have filled the fuel 8 liters to the maximum. The magnet is along with the float, along with the fluid level, since it is having buoyancy effect with the help of spring. Magnet is very close to the current carrying conductor. You can see here. Since the magnetic field is, lines of force is too high, the Lorentz force is too high on the electrical carrying conductor, your detector will be showing maximum deflection, maximum potential difference. That means to say the correlated output, fuel level is full, that is being showing with the help of magnetic field, electric field, I am measuring the level of fluid. So you can now understand, if the fuel level, say consider this is half tank, your magnet will be floating around here, because this magnet is usually floating inside the fuel tank. If the magnet is here, obviously the lines of force is at a particular distance. That means to say flux intensity is now lesser when compared to maximum fuel tank. Obviously this magnetic field has moderate influence on the electrical charges. Moderate potential difference will lead to fuel tank to deflect charged particles, and your detector will be showing half a tank, maybe analogous or maybe digital output. Lastly, if the approach is to the reserve, say 1 liter, 1.5 liters of petrol, your magnet floats here. So obviously it is too far. Magnetic lines of force is too far from the electrical field. Obviously potential difference VH will be too low. That shows, the pointer now shows to the reserve. So correlated input measured with the help of Hall effect sensor as an output in the fuel meter. So this is a very efficient use of application of Hall effect sensor. So like this you have n number of examples apart from fuel level sensors, where we are using the deflection of charged particles under the influence of magnetic field. This discovery of ER Hall as an effect, this is being detected, I have told you, with the help of earth and sun. We already have this in our solar system, that we have employed with the help of a scientist who has perceived this knowledge. We are employing it in more or less many of the type of devices. This is one application of Hall effect sensors. So this is the end of first module, where we have studied the maximum knowledge of what is mechatronics, evolution of mechatronics, design of mechatronic system, and later part advantages, disadvantages, applications, and important elements like transducers, where we convert one form of energy into another form, followed by sensors. So where we have sense organs, similarly the sensor will detect a phenomena. I cannot call energy because there is a phenomena. Proximity is a phenomena or existential phenomena. That is why sensors can detect phenomena. Transducers are nothing but they are just intermediate modifying devices. That is the difference between transducer and sensor. Keep that in mind. So a sensor, various type of sensors, like we have studied few: light sensor, proximity sensors, and Hall effect sensors. All are based on usage of energy, force, light, which are in and around us. So those we are using, and we are concluding module 1 with this. We will start module 2 in our later upcoming sessions. Thank you.